You will be amazed by this incredible truth about crows that scientists have just discovered, but which the Quran revealed to us 1,400 years ago. Every living being is unique and has a purpose in this world. However, crows, those mysterious birds you might encounter daily on the street, have something to teach us that might give you chills when you learn it. Now, let's explore the characteristics of these extraordinary birds. This video concerns us all closely. It all started with scientific research into strange behavior observed in crows. Crows, among the world's most intelligent animals, did something for their deceased brothers and relatives that immediately caught scientists' attention. In response to the death of their loved ones, crows act very similar to humans. When a crow is found inert, another crow from the same family abandons all its activities and begins to cry in a manner that resembles lament. Very quickly, the other crows within a radius of several kilometers are alerted and arrive on site, with the bad news spreading quickly. Once gathered around the deceased crow, their behavior becomes increasingly strange. A funeral ceremony similar to that of humans then begins. Keep this detail in mind for the rest of the video because the verse in the Quran about ravens is so striking that what scientists have just discovered was revealed to us as a miracle 1,400 years ago in the Quran, and this verse is closely related to us humans. Then Allah sent a crow who began to scratch the earth to show him how to bury his brother's corpse. He said, "Woe is me! Am I incapable of being, like this crow, able to bury the corpse of my brother?" He then became one of those consumed by remorse. Al-Ma'idah 31. Yes, crows engage in behavior that resembles a funeral ceremony. They gather pieces of wood and other similar materials to place them one by one on their deceased loved one, as if they were burying them. Why would a bird think of burying another dead bird? Why bury? What do crows understand about death? During this ceremony-like event, the other crows stop feeding and spend hours silently observing the dead crow. After the publication of this article in the scientific journal Animal Behavior regarding crow funerals, research into the mystery and unknown aspects of crows intensified. Now let's explore these fascinating birds closer. A woman, attacked by a crow while going to work in broad daylight, says she was shocked. A crow with young around can identify people and hold grudges against some of them. That day, the woman had not committed any fault or acted badly towards the crow. However, it is possible that she encountered this crow and behaved hostilely towards it perhaps 4 years ago. Crows do not forget and can remember faces for many years. Don't even think about hurting a baby crow, or you might find yourself facing a flock of crows in no time. Crows, famous for their solidarity, can form large flocks in times of danger. It all depends on your intentions. A man saved a crow attacked by a cat, and afterward, the crow never left his side, always returning to his store after he released it into the wild. The friendship of this crow surprised the traders. In Seattle, another amazing event happened. Stuart, 56, who had been feeding and watching over a family of crows for a long time, was one day surprised by a gift brought by the crows. The crows, with their intelligence, assembled 2 fir branches with corks, decorated them as a gift, and brought them to Stuart. For Stuart, who shared this photo on social media, these aren't just gifts. There is an art here, he commented. Speaking of crows bringing gifts to humans, it is impossible not to mention this little 8-year-old girl in America. While feeding the crows in her garden, the little girl received so many gifts from them that she ended up transforming these objects into a real collection. However, after hearing all of this, I do not recommend that you try to domesticate crows. Their place is in nature. And remember, in 3 or 5 years, their family might come back as a group asking, "Where is my child?" Now let's move on to the astonishing intelligence of crows. With the development of technology and the growth of cities, crows have discovered the benefits of living with humans rather than moving away from them. For example, when they collect nuts and other hard-shelled foods from trees, they climb onto a bridge and throw them into traffic. A car then passes over the nut, breaking the shell and making it easier for the crow to access food. Then the crow follows the traffic lights, and when the light is green and the cars stop, it goes to get its food in the middle of the road. This is one of the most fascinating videos about crows. A crow, unable to reach an object inside a glass cylinder with its beak, uses a metal rod to do so. When he doesn't succeed with the rod, he does something incredible. He removes the rod, bends the end of it into a hook, then tries again and succeeds. Crows also have a very developed sense of humor. They play with other animals and humans just for fun. When they find an abandoned baby crow, the whole group adopts it and cares for it like their own offspring. It is commonly believed that crows can live up to 150 years. Although I don't know why this information is circulating, I can tell you that crows actually don't live past 40 years. In an interesting crow experiment, a group of people wearing masks showed dead crows to live crows. Even after a long time, the crows remembered people wearing the same masks and reacted strongly by immediately flocking together. Crows are known to eat almost anything. They are not picky eaters, except when it comes to carrion. Contrary to popular belief, crows do not feed on carrion, with the exception of a single species of crow. Carrion crows, a species of the corvid family. Now let's move on to the most fascinating part of my story. Remember how crows place objects on their dead peers and loved ones, as if to bury them. Now let's go back in time. The first human being to lose his life in the history of humanity was Habel. You know Habel and Cabel, the children of the first man, the prophet Adam, peace be upon him. Habel was the first to be killed, the victim of a murder. He was killed by his own brother. But how did we first learn to respond to death? How did we come up with the idea of burying our loved ones, as we do today? Why do we bury our dead? Why do we put them underground? When Cabel killed his brother Habel, he did not know what to do with his body. As you know, everything about life had been taught to Prophet Adam, peace be upon him, by the permission of God. However, when Habel died, neither he nor his brother were at the side of the Prophet Adam, peace be upon him. Cabel had no idea what to do with a lifeless body. Listen carefully. For thousands of years, we have known that we must put our loved ones underground when they last journey in this world. See how Allah, God, taught this for the first person to die in history. Listen to the indication in the Quran about crows and their effort to bury dead bodies, recently discovered by scientists. While Cabel waited without knowing what to do with the body of his brother Habel, Allah sent a raven to show him what to do. You heard correctly. A raven sent by Allah taught Cabel that the body of the first person to die should be buried. Then Allah sent a crow who began to scratch the earth to show him how to bury his brother's corpse. He said, "Woe is me! Am I incapable of being, like this crow, able to bury the corpse of my brother?" He then became one of those consumed by remorse. Al-Ma'idah 31. He showed him that a lifeless body had to be put underground. In Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 31. If this is the first time you hear it, it's quite surprising, isn't it? It turns out that the burial of the first person to die in history was guided by a raven. This is why the first verse of the Quran is Li. Li, in the name of your Lord who created. By reading and discovering, we learn so many truths and things about our life, don't we? See you in the next video.